There's a new study out about how society reacts to black folks in America. And I hate to keep depressing you with this story, but we got to know what the issues are so we can get beyond them. Now, first of all, they did the study in Portland, Oregon, one of the most liberal places in America. So it's not like they went to middle of Mississippi and did the study. And they did not test whether people were outwardly racist or used stereotypes. They were basically looking for how people reacted in their unconscious minds. Okay, so they did a fascinating thing. They got 6 men, 3 of them white, 3 of them black, to stand at a corner waiting to walk across the street and see how many cars stop and what is the rate at which those cars stop. Now, they tried to do everything they can to make sure that other factors did not affect the decision. So they would have them swap clothing. So they were wearing the same clothes, and everything else was try to keep as neutral as possible. And here's what they found. Scientists found that black people were forced to wait 32% longer at Portland crosswalks than whites before a driver stopped to let them cross the street. Okay, and they were more than twice as likely to have people pass them by, the cars pass them by. So they wait longer and they're more likely to have the cars pass them by. Now, they didn't track who was in the car. They didn't track, it's not just white folks, it's everybody in Portland. They're looking at it en masse. So this is not something where the driver is driving by and says, that's a black guy, I don't care about him, I'm not going to stop. Oh, that's a white guy, I care about his life. I'm going to stop to make sure he's okay and can cross the street. I want to be polite and respectful to him. No, they don't think about it that way. To quote the researchers, we are not saying drivers are overtly racist. You can think you're just driving to work and won't even notice that you are differently stopping for one pedestrian over others. So this is about the 8th study in a row showing that people are unconsciously discriminating and they don't even realize it. There was this study we covered just yesterday on the show where it turns out both white and black diners, people who are going to restaurants, tip black waiters less than they tip white waiters, and obviously waitresses as well. We've showed you the study where people will pay less on eBay if a black hand is holding the same exact product as a white hand, and they'll want more confirmation it's going to be delivered. So again, the buyer is not based on race, the seller is, and all you see is the black hand. Black sounding names have a 50% chance, less chance of getting callbacks for interviews. So these are all the ways that racism exists in the country without people being overtly racist. So it's not like, hey, if you pass the black guy by and you stop for the white guy in that crosswalk in Portland, we're not trying to pull you out of the car and be like, you're racist, blah, 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 blah. No, we're just saying, hey, this is something that obviously exists, and just because Obama was elected president or any of the other things, oh no, Republicans declare they're colorblind. Martin Luther King gave a speech once. That did not take away all of the deep stereotypes that have taken root in this country. And it's, again, not about blaming people. It's about getting to the fix. And the first step is for us to acknowledge it and go, oh, wow, I didn't know that. That's a really amazing study, combined with all of the other studies. So 2 more studies for you guys. All of these have been covered on the show before, but I want to give you full context. When shown black pictures and white pictures, people responded with the words fear and anger more towards the black pictures than the white pictures. I know it's deeply depressing, but it happens, and we got to realize it. We got to acknowledge it, and it goes on and on. Unfortunately, it appears endless, and then some of that is shown when we have the police brutality, we have the shootings, and the cops doing the shootings. I don't know if they're overtly racist. Sometimes it turns out you find some old things that they wrote, and it doesn't look good. But I bet you most of them aren't thinking, I'm going to go shoot a black guy today. No. But they see a black guy, which leads to the second study I was going to mention for you guys. And black kids are seen on average as 4 years older than white kids, and hence more responsible and more culpable. So when they see a Tamir Rice who's 12 years old, that cop isn't seeing a 12-year-old, he's seeing a 16-year-old or older. He claims that he thought that he was in his 20s, right? So they see fear, they see anger, they see a life that doesn't quite matter as much as a white life, even though they might never think that outwardly or never say it outwardly. So that's what's in the back of a lot of our minds. We've got to know it, we've got to acknowledge it. Look, even in the context of this driving study, I'm going to give you one more statistic which is troubling. They say national traffic data suggests that minorities are more than twice as likely as white people to die in traffic accidents. Okay, traffic incidents. So could it be partly because of the pedestrians being run over? It could be, partly. So those two things might or might not be connected. But here's another way that black people wind up on the short end of the stick. Now, that doesn't mean that we all have to be like, okay, everybody look out for black people in the crosswalk, or make sure you don't run into any black people, or if you ran into somebody who happened to be driving a car who was black, that you're a racist. No, of course not. But it does mean that it's real. And all these studies show it over and over again. It's real. This discrimination exists. So, and again, the answer isn't easy. It's not like, okay, we do more affirmative action, or we do quotas, or we do this, we do reparations. We're not talking about that. We're just asking you to open your eyes so we can have a clear look at the problem and together figure out what the solution should be. I don't think that's too much to ask.